Hello, welcome to Screencast 2 of the Introduction to Vectorworks for the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. So in this screencast, all we'll be doing is setting up the space ready to start drawing some shapes in the next screencast, and we have a little few tidy up things to do. So on mine, when I think I've taken it back to how it will be when you download it, but it might be a little different, but just follow through anyway. You might notice along the top and side of your of the bordering area, the design layer, mine's is in imperial. It says it's like 5'10" or 10 foot. Or anyway, I don't want it in imperial. We want it in metric, and we're going to sort a few other things at the same time. So what I'm going to do is to go to File, Document Settings, and Units. That's where we'll change to metric and do a couple of other little tweaks. So by clicking on that, we'll go into this Units page. So we will change the units to millimeters. So everything we'll be doing will be in millimeters. And we don't need anything. Decimal precision was 1 there. Don't need any less than 1 millimeter, or rounding. That's fine. Area, square millimeters are going to be a little bit a huge number, so we can do square meters, and we can knock that probably down. We can knock that down 1 if we're talking about square meters. So precision 0.01 of a square meter should be enough, but we can change this anytime we like. Volume, cubic feet, can change to cubic meters as well, and we'll take that down a decimal point as well. And angle is degrees, and we don't need points, we don't need hundredths of a degree, so just 0 there. We don't need precision, so like 13 degrees, 45 degrees is enough for us, not 45.78 degrees. That's not much use to us. We can save these settings if we want as default, or I can just click OK. And that should now change the bits around the edges. I've got 0, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000 millimeters now. 4 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter. Should be able to quickly do that in your head, it being millimeters. And our areas and volumes and angles will all be set. So that's done. The next thing I want to do is I prefer to get rid of this virtual sheet of paper. It doesn't mean anything. Your numbers may be different along the top. It's very difficult to go back to the default how it is out of the box when you've been using it for a while, because it remembers everything. So you will probably have a virtual piece of paper sitting in the middle of your screen. So I like to get rid of that. So I'm going to File, Page Setup down here, and we're going to untick Show Page Boundary. Okay, and that just gets rid of that and gets rid of the Vectorworks Education version watermark as well. Note though that you do have an educational version of Vectorworks. It is not for commercial use, so don't be giving out that license to anybody, and don't be doing any work that you're paid for using the educational license. You can rent a license for a month, I think is the shortest amount of time, and if you need to do work, do not give your student number to anyone else, or else we'll be in big trouble and I'll be very angry. So you may have a blue grid on your screen. Again, I'm not sure how it opens up, but we'll pause and have a look at the snap to grid options. So down here there's a little icon there, and when you hover your mouse across it will say snap to grid. If I double click that, I'll open up the grid settings, and I'll just move it into the center. Oh, I can't move it into the center of the page. The reference grid here I'm going to make symmetrical, and then the snap grid there I'm going to make exactly the same. Snap grid and reference grid. I would say 99 times out of 100 that's probably a good idea to have your snap grid and reference grid the same. Reference grid is the blue lines that you can see on the screen, and the snap grid is the snapping interval. You could have a 100 by 100 symmetrical grid and only snap to every 10 millimeters within it, but I'm not sure why you would. So there, I've kind of done that now, and show grid. It's just that the reason it's not showing is I'm too zoomed in. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, they're quite faint, and that means now if I draw something and I have this snap to grid on, it snaps to, there's 100 by 100, 200 by 200. So I can't do a box that's 75 here because 100 is my snap. Hope that makes sense. If we want to get rid of it, then we can just we can not show the grid. So unclick show grid, and that doesn't mean to say the snapping goes. That's just mean the grid, we can't see the grids. See, the snapping is still there. If I want to get rid of the snapping, I unclick that little icon. It's kind of grey on and kind of black off by the look of it at the moment, and now you can see that that's not snapping. Go back to the selection tool. The grid is very, very useful. We will be using it in the next tutorial. I'm sure you can understand if you were drawing out pieces of stage decking and they were all the same size, then quickly setting the grid up there to be whatever size the decking is, or floor tiles, or anything really. It's a quick and easy way of making sure that you don't draw random sizes, or it's going to make your life so much easier if you use that grid. Don't be afraid to jump in there, change the grid, draw some things out, and then come switch off again and go back to what you're doing. It's incredibly powerful and underused. I think that's enough for just now. That's us already. The grid's gone, the page boundary's gone, the units are right, and we're ready to go. But we'll do that in another tutorial. This is just setting the page up.